Welcome back, everybody. As a landscaper, we are always looking for ways to increase our revenue, increase our profits in our business. And all doing so, we don't want to be putting out a lot of money, right? Well, I might have a solution for you. It's called Christmas lighting. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I tried it. There's no money in Christmas lights. It doesn't work around here, blah, blah, blah. Our guest today, Jason Geiman, can prove you wrong and how adding something as simple as Christmas lighting can help increase your profits, increase your revenue, and also keeping your employees during the slower winter months. So do not miss today's episode. Jason dives into marketing, he dives into sales. So it's an awesome episode. So stick around, guys. This podcast is brought to you by Busy. Busy is so simple to use, and it's the most reliable GPS time tracking app on the market. And the best part is, it was built for landscapers. Busy's founder created Busy because he owns multiple construction companies and needed to understand better which projects were making him money and which projects were killing him. Payroll is the highest variable cost in the project, so you better be tracking it. Busy does this better than anyone else. So download Busy today, and don't forget to mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast to get 3 free months.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast. If you want to get the leads you want and turn your current clients into raving fans, then you need to try SendJim. They've created an exclusive offer just for our listeners. If you sign up today, you can get your first month for just $2. So if you haven't already, go to sendjim.io/MDL, where you can get even more exclusive deals just for $1 Million Landscaper podcast listeners. That's sendjim.io/MDL and take advantage of these awesome deals today.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm excited to have on our guest, our friend, Jason Geiman. He is from pressurewashhelp.com and christmaslights.io.com. And Jason is an amazing guy. He's been traveling all around the country, giving speeches and talks and teaching people how to not only do pressure washing, but Christmas lights too. And today we wanted to dive into the Christmas light. It's getting close to that time, and it's something that you guys should really consider adding to your landscape business to bring in a little additional income. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always fun to come on the show with you, Scott, and talk about, especially my favorite subject, or one of them, is Christmas lights, right? It's the season that everybody loves.
It's one of your favorite seasons, isn't it?
It is one of my favorite seasons. It's one of my favorite seasons because of a couple of reasons. One, it's a very profitable season for us for Christmas lights. And two, I mean, who doesn't love Christmas lights at the end of the day?
Absolutely. I enjoy taking the kids for drives around and go look at them. It's awesome. So this is an awesome way to add a little income to your business, right? Adding a little bit.
Yes, that is correct. And I can kind of go into a little bit of my story here. So I was a pressure washer, and I had a business that I started in 2012, pressure washing. And my goal was to grow my business, to have employees. And as pressure washing or landscaping, it dies in the wintertime. Wintertime is those dreaded months of, even around with, the snow. We don't know if it's going to snow, if it is going to snow. I'm out of the Cincinnati area, so it's not like I could do snow removal, because one year it's amazing and the next year you're starving to death. And so I was so in 2014, I was like, man, I want to start adding employees. So then that way I can be open all year long, so that I can do something in the wintertime, and so that I can pay my employees during the wintertime and to keep them busy. And so at the time, I'm always about training, right? So I went to the huge convention. The huge convention at the time was down in Nashville, Tennessee. And there was a guy that Josh Latimer, who was back in the day, it's SendJim now, but it was called something bitter. I don't even remember what it's called, but it was about sending postcards with the houses on them, and he had Christmas lights on them. And I was like, tell me a little bit more about these Christmas lights. And so he had started just doing Christmas lights in his business. And so I was like, well, I got to go figure out these Christmas lights. So I went and I started doing the Christmas lights. Now, I did have some landscape friends at the time being like, man, there ain't no money in Christmas lights. You can't make no money in Christmas lights. And, he was a good friend of mine. I met him at BNI, and he was a landscaper, and he was like, there's no money in Christmas lights. I've tried that. You can't make no money in Christmas lights. And I'm like, all right, that's nice opinion of yours. And so I went and I found some training, and I found some training, and we went and I tried to do it. And I went up into Chicago to learn how to do Christmas lights from a guy up there. From that, I started to my first year in Christmas lights. I did 39 installs right at $40,000. And so I was at about $1,000 per install. And I'm like, well, that's not too bad. And especially this model that I'm using, right? Because the guy that I knew that talked about Christmas lights, he's like, well, we just put up their Christmas lights. Well, that's your number one mistake. If you're going to do Christmas lights, don't ever, and I mean ever, touch somebody else's Christmas lights, because they're going to give you this big bin and they're going to bring it out to you, and they're all going to just be like this big pile, rat's nest of Christmas lights, and they're going to say, now go make my house look pretty. And about 10 hours later, and you cussing because half the lights don't work, is not the way that we're going to do Christmas lights. So that is one thing that I learned from him, is never touch someone else's Christmas lights. So from that, I did my first year, I was right at 40,000. I went and I sold the business in 2007 or 2018. And at that time we had done $500,000 in Christmas lights, for about 250, 300 installs. We were right at an average ticket of almost $2,000 for an average ticket. And the beautiful thing is I made just as much money doing Christmas lights as I did pressure washing that year, because I made $500,000 in pressure washing. I made $500,000 in Christmas lights. And so Christmas lights has definitely been a game changer, and I've seen it as a game changer for a lot of businesses out there, that, they're like, well, I'm going to just do this enough. And then actually I got a good landscaper, Jason, down in Louisville, or north side of Louisville, Jason Murphy. He has a pretty good sized landscape company. And he's like, he did like 600,000 this past year in landscape, or in Christmas lights alone. And he's like, if I can keep this going, I'm going to quit the landscape business. Now, I know that's not what you want to do, because we're talking with Scott here, but
no, we got to keep landscaping going. But no, those are huge numbers. Honestly, I didn't even realize you can get to that level in doing Christmas lights. Now, were you doing both residential and commercial?
Mostly, yes, we did do residential and commercially. Mostly it's residential.
Okay.
Not all. We're getting in a lot of the HOAs. So if you're into the HOAs and you've learned how to do the HOAs, a lot of it was the HOAs, some Chick-fil-A's, different things like that do it. Some funeral homes, some car dealerships we did. We had a contract with 7 of the Hondas. And so there is other things than just residential. But mostly a lot of our commercial side of things was like the HOA entries and all of that kind of.
That's pretty sweet. So if someone's even considering getting into Christmas lights, what do they do? They just go online? They get into franchise or anything like that? What do you recommend?
So obviously, that's what I do now, is I teach people how to start and grow Christmas light businesses. So I have an online program, and I have a in-person training that I do a couple times a year. And so you can go online. I've got a bunch of Christmas light videos out there. I have a whole YouTube channel of Christmas lights and showing people how to do it. If you want to try to go that way. But if you want the whole course laid out, I do have a online course course that you can take, and it will lay out how to get everything. And then we do a 2-day in-person class. So it's 1 day hands-on, and then the second day is the most important day, which is how to market, how to grow your business, how to sell these lights, and how to sell them at premium pricing. Because I'm all about premium pricing. I know there's a lot of people that want to go cheap and try to come in at cheaper pricing, but I am not that type of person, right? I am not the Walmart of Christmas lights. I want to be Whole Foods of Christmas lights. I want to be the higher ticket. I don't want to be the Ford Fiesta. I want to be the Cadillac of Christmas lights.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about going to Walmart or Home Depot and picking up lights. You're talking like commercial, professional grade lighting too, correct?
That is correct. So these are commercial grade lights that will last 5-7 years, of you putting up year after year and you profiting year after year for that. Kind of back to the other question too about a franchise, right? Can we do a franchise, or should I go with a franchise, right? Basically, the way I've set up my course is it gives you all the stuff that you need to be able to do it. If you have struggles, in this business, it's like anything, right? We're a customer service business that just so happens to be doing Christmas lights or landscaping or pressure washing or any of that stuff. This is a marketing business, right? We got to figure out, how do we get the phone to ring? If we can't get the phone to ring, it doesn't matter what the lights are. It doesn't matter how we install them. And so that is what I kind of dive deep into a lot, is how do we get the phone to ring? What are the ways that we can get the phone to ring? Because if we can't get the phone to ring, it doesn't do us any good. And, I know sometimes as a landscaper or stuff, we don't always think about marketing. Pressure washing we do, because it's more of a one-off, where if we're doing grass cutting, we get this person, we get the neighbors just by showing up, right? We have our trailer there just by showing up. That is kind of your marketing for that local area. Where this is more of a marketing game of, hey, we got to go out there and find customers. A customer acquisition cost for Christmas lights can be $200-$300 per customer is what it could cost us to get a customer. And so with that said, we got to learn how to invest in our business, right? The beautiful thing about Christmas lights, well, the one sucky thing about Christmas lights is it don't have a very high close rate. So you get a lot of no's. Your close rate's down in the 20% range, 15 to 20% range. But the good part of it is your return customer will come back every year is about 80%. So it's pretty high that they will come back and reuse you again. So that is something that helps us be able to keep, because the lifetime value of that customer, when, as a pressure washer, a lifetime value of my customer might be, $3,000-$4,000. The lifetime of value of a Christmas light customer could be 20, 30, 40, $50,000.
Wow. Those are some amazing numbers.
And that's
That's
the
awesome.
thing that's what's awesome about Christmas light customers are they make great pressure washing customers. They make great landscape customers.
Yep.
They make great other customers because they're willing to pay you. To our average, I've got guys that their average tickets are $2,400-$2,500 is their average ticket. So
Mhm. Going back to the franchise question too, is we looked at this, I don't even know, it's probably 20 plus years ago. We looked at it, and there was franchise. I don't remember the name of the company. Is at a show up in Chicago, and yeah, they wanted some big dollars to get into their franchise. And I mean, yeah, you got some training, excuse me, but I don't know, the value that I received from that. I mean, it didn't seem worth it. Doing something like your program is the way to go. And like, I'm kind of anti-franchise anyhow, so I think it's better to kind of do like a system like yours and learn it on your own, and you get the systems that in your program that teaches you all this.
The only way I would ever consider, I am anti franchise too, don't get me
Mm.
wrong. But here's the thing about a franchise. If they can get me lots of leads and stuff, and you suck at lead gen and that kind of thing, then I could see maybe doing a franchise, because they're going to do all your marketing for you. But most of the franchises out there aren't going to go down the road of helping you get a bunch of leads, right? That's where that problem runs into. So if you're going to give somebody 10, 20, 30, $50,000, imagine you've put in $50,000 in your own business and your own marketing, what that would do. I would about guarantee you any market that puts 50 grand in their own market is going to blow up, right? You're going to
Mhm.
make the phone ring at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's probably around where it was. It was like 50 or $60,000 to join this franchise. I'm like, I just can't see the return on that. I don't know. I said this is a while back, and maybe things have improved, but yeah, not so much. I'd rather join a program like yours.
And I've seen, we got we not so much pressure washers, but there's some window cleaning that, that you'll see 4 or 5 people buy that same franchise because none of them's been successful at the end of it. So.
Yeah. So if somebody's like said looking to get started, is there a lot of equipment that you need to get going? And I wouldn't imagine so, but I'm just curious.
A lot of safety equipment. So we use a lot of safety equipment. We use like the goat. Obviously, you're going to need ladders. So you're probably looking about $2,000 to $3,000 in the safety side of things. You got a couple ladders, a 28-foot or a 32, maybe a 40-foot ladder, maybe one of the little giants. And then we use the pitch hopper. So the goat assist used to kind of be the big tool until last year. Everybody was using the goat assist, and then last year the pitch hoppers started coming more popular, and they're like $100-$200 a piece, and they work really good. Cougar paws for your shoes, the harness, the Ridge Pro with the harness. So you might be $2,000-$3,000 for the safety equipment, because on the light side of things, we can buy that as we go. Obviously, we get a 50% or a 50% deposit up front, so that can get the lights, and we can go from that. But the biggest thing is safety equipment, right? We got to be safe. We are up on roofs. The last thing I want people to do is fall off. It seems like at least a couple people die a year, at least 1 or 2 people die a year falling off the roof, putting up Christmas lights. And so with that, we have to be safe putting up these Christmas lights. And not only just with ladders, but, even a lot of people will use long poles, 24-foot poles, 30-foot poles. We use lifts. So we might rent a lift. And so we got to worry about, being around electric lines and that. So there is some safety factor that we have to think about when we're putting up Christmas lights. So it's not just about the equipment that we have to use or how much that equipment costs, but how safe do we got to keep our guys. Obviously, we need workers' comp on our guys, being up that they're on the roof. And, the safety equipment is the biggest part of this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how many people typically do you need for jobs? I know it varies, of course, the size of the job, but typically, what are you looking at? 2, 3 people?
So most of our crews had 2 guys, and then we would have one crew that would have 3 or 4 guys on it. And that crew would be more for our HOAs. So we would be going in, putting lights on 30, 40 trees. So we would, have more guys on that crew. But typically you have 2 guys per crew. You can do 3 guys, but usually you're going to have people standing around at that point. You're going to have a roof guy, and then you're going to have a ground guy. That's your typical crew. And then on your big crews, you're going to have, 3, 4, 5 guys that you go into an HOA and they start putting them up. Or if you have a house that has tons of groundwork, then you will send that crew to knock out all the groundwork.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, like you mentioned, you have to have workman's comp. Do you have to have any other additional insurance too for the team members?
If you already have a business, you can add it to your current. You can add the Christmas lights to your current policy, and it's usually not that expensive. It's only maybe a couple $100 more to add that to your insurance. So that's the best way to do that. If you are a brand new business, then you'll need, just your general liability insurance for Christmas lights. But you do need workers' comp also for your business too. So that way you keep your guys covered under the workers' comp. And that's where you will get a little bit expensive. You're going to have some cost in your workers' comp, but that's why we charge premium pricing. And when we charge premium pricing, guess what? It allows us to do a lot of other things, right? We can spend money on marketing. We can spend money on the correct tools. We can spend money on the correct insurance, and we can run a business as a business.
Yeah. So if you go out there and put these lights up, do charge again to take them down? How's all that work? And then do you store them or do you give them to the customer? How's all that work?
So this is an all-inclusive service is how we sell this. We don't rent the lights, we don't lease the lights, we don't sell the lights. This is an all-inclusive service. So our service includes, we help you design the lights. Once we get the design up, we will come up and we install the lights. We make sure that the lights stay on all year long. So if you have a problem, we come back within 24 hours or next business day to fix any problems that we may have. And then at the end of the season, you don't have to worry about someone not coming back and taking your lights down. We actually come back, take the lights down, and they are our lights. So they're not the customer lights, they're our lights. So we do all the storage. And then the next year we come back and make you have another wonderful Christmas again. Again, when we're selling Christmas lights and we're selling, you're going to get some pushback about, well, I don't even own the lights. No, you don't own the lights. This is an all-inclusive service at the end of the day. We are providing a service for you. Reason why we're not renting or leasing the lights is because then we can run into some technical difficulties if something would happen. And that is why we are providing a service instead of renting the lights. So that's why we include this as an all-inclusive service. And here's the deal here's the deal. Most people, right, we're selling these lights on emotions. We're not selling them by the foot. We're not selling them by the strand. We're not pricing. We are pricing them by the strand, but we're not. When we're selling Christmas lights, we're not selling Christmas lights or this service as a service, right? We're selling it. Most people buying Christmas lights is an emotion, and we can't put a price on that. We never know. It might be someone's last Christmas. It might be Granny's last Christmas. It might be your loved one's last Christmas, and we can't put a price on that, what that cost would be. And so, I know a lot of times people struggle selling Christmas lights. If you don't believe in your own product, nobody's going to believe in your product either. We're not talking about $200-$300 ticket here. We're talking $2,000 as our average ticket. And so when we're selling $2,000 average tickets, we got to be able to believe that that's what it's worth at the end of the day. If you don't believe that you can do $2,000 Christmas lights, your customers aren't going to believe that you can do $2,000 Christmas lights. It's just like landscaping, right? If we go in and do a landscaping job, and if you don't believe you're worth 10 grand, you're not going to make 10 grand at the end of the day. If you believe you're only worth $200, that's all you're ever going to get out of that. Because if you believe that if it's only worth $200 and you are trying to get $5,000, that customer will smell you out as quick as they can, man. You will be nervous. Your eyes will start like wide open, and you're going to start shaking. You're going to start getting a little sweaty, and that customer can see that in a heartbeat, And so this is why it's important that we go over our elevator pitch of how we sell, right? The same thing, even if we got to do it in front of our phone, we got to do it in front of other people. So that way we get comfortable and believe what we do. Same thing with Christmas lights. If we don't believe in what we can get out of it, people will struggle with this. I teach people now that you charge $8 to $12 a foot for Christmas lights. And when people hear that, they think, oh my God, I would never pay that. Well, guess what? You're not your customer. You probably don't live in the $500,000 house that is calling you either, do you? So these are some things that we have to overcome when we're selling Christmas lights. Christmas lights, again, when we're selling this, A lot of people buy on emotion. This is why I put a female on the phone call versus a male trying to sell these Christmas lights. A female on the phone call don't care about, well, it's 10 feet. We use this bulb. It has this. People don't care about that. They just want their house to look beautiful, and they want it to look amazing, and they want it that picture perfect house, right? And so with that, this is why I put a female on there, because they're going to talk about their kids, and they're going to talk about everything else, and it's not going to be anything about Christmas lights. And when, guess what? They will buy more from that versus trying to get all the little details. It doesn't matter if we're dealing with pressure washing or Christmas lights. Pressure washing is even worse with men, because men want to sit there and talk about, well, we use this type of pressure and we use this type of chemical and we do this, this, and this. Same way with grass cutting. They don't care about your $10,000 mower. They just want the grass to look amazing, and they might want some stripes in it, right?
Mhm.
And it looks pretty. That's what they want. We're going to give them what they want, and that's how we can sell them. And then the other thing is listen, right? When we're on the phone and we're talking to these people, listen to what they say, ask questions, and listen, because you know what? They will tell you what they want. And then
Mhm.
if they tell you what they want, guess what? We can sell on what they want. They have a problem, you have the solution. So, this is why it's important that we have two ears and one mouth to keep the mouth shut and listen.
Jason just unloaded a ton of just sales tips right there for any service, because this is the stuff that we teach is like you have to be excited about this when you're going out there talking to them, like, oh, this will look amazing right here. And imagine the kids when they walk up at night just getting excited about it, and like you said, expressing those emotions to them is going to light them up, and it's going to make them sell it much easier. But if you're not excited about it, well, then they're not going to be excited about it. So yeah, those are some awesome tips there, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, I know I went on a tangent, and I usually do,
Oh,
but
no.
that it's so true, right? I mean, I see so many guys that they struggle with pricing, they struggle with business, right?
Mhm.
We forget that this is a business. It doesn't matter, I have guys that, oh, I'm just a pressure washing business, or I'm just a little landscape lighting business. You know what? You are a business. The thing that you do is just one little part. The hard reason why people fail is because they fail at the business part. They don't fail at the landscape part. They don't fail at the pressure washing part. They can be the best. You could be the best landscaper out there, have $25,000, $100,000 in equipment, and you suck at business, and you will go out of business. In the pressure washing world that I'm also in, I always preach, I would rather you go out there and spend $25,000 in marketing than $25,000 in any landscape or any pressure washing stuff like that. Why? Because if you can't learn how to sell and how to get business, it doesn't matter about the thing. The thing is not what it is. And you might think, oh, I'm just a little pressure washing business, or I'm just a little landscaper. I know some very successful pressure washing businesses and landscape businesses. One of the guys that just came to my Christmas light training is going to do he's going to do $800,000 in just pressure washing little business. And he's 27, 28 years old. Right. And so, and that's the other thing, some people sit there and will come up with all kinds of excuses. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too this. Get the excuses out of your head. That
Mhm.
is something that I don't like hearing excuses. I want to hear solutions, not excuses.
Absolutely. You could do anything. You just put your mind to it and just start doing your research and looking into it. And there's so many different things out there to learn. Like it's amazing. All these books and YouTube, everything. You can find anything you need to out there. Just
And
have to
one
look.
other thing I'll say, I'm big in education and reading and stuff, and I never used to be. I'm 42 years old, and I didn't start reading until I was probably 38, 39. And they say, most millionaires read at least one book a year or one book a month, right?
Mhm.
And so start reading. And if you haven't read the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, that would be a good book that I like to. I've been recommending it a lot here lately. It was a book written in the 1950s. It's still relevant today. And whether you pay for it or you don't, you can go on YouTube, get it for free, or you can pay for it. But you know what I always tell people, and I know this is one of those things that I'm a trainer and I'm trying to teach people, but open your wallet. When you open your wallet to pay for training, you will take it a lot more serious, whether it is anything, right? When you open your wallet, can you get it out there for free on YouTube? Yes, you can. I guarantee you can find anything out there. In fact, everything that I teach is pretty much on YouTube out there. But the people that are successful are the people that are willing to open a wallet. There is a line that goes from your wallet to your brain that makes you open it up. So whether you are doing Scott's program, or you always keep learning, always keep investing in yourself. A lot of people think that, oh, I don't want to invest in myself. That's, if you want to grow and be successful, you've got to invest in yourself. You got to keep learning. Never stop learning. You do not know it all. You will never know it all. And if you think you know it all, you will be ready to set yourself up for failure. So keep investing in yourself. I keep investing in myself. I go to classes, I go to training because I know it's important. Can I find this stuff on the internet for free and stuff? Yeah, I can probably find everything. But if I don't open my wallet and it don't hurt a little bit, I won't make sure that I won't do the class. I won't take action on the steps that I need to take action on.
Well, the thing too is it's nice if you can have one location to go to instead of like searching here and let's try this and oh that I lost money on that one. Oh, I'll do this. I lost money there. If you go to somebody who's been there, done that, they're going to save you tons of time and tons of money. So look into that. Like you said, that's a huge thing. Just open your wallet.
Yeah, most of my training is failures that I've done myself that I learned that wasn't the smart way of doing things. And that's how I kind of do my training, right? Because if I fail at it, I knew that didn't work. And especially having employees, right? You got to have systems in place to make sure that they are doing the same system over and over and over and over. Otherwise, you're going to not be able. They're going to, and not only that they will do the system, you have to do the systems. You can't put a system in place and then you not do the system as the owner and then expect the employees to do the system.
Oh yeah, it's well along those lines. We hear people in the academy, our academy, say, we've tried doing this systems or checklists. Our teams just won't do it." Well, just keep doing it. Keep doing it over and over. Like it doesn't happen overnight. It's one of those things. Just repetition, repetition. I say repetition over perfection. Once you get that down, then they'll eventually grasp it. That's just how we do things around here.
Well, and you have to do them too as the owner, because a
Oh,
lot of times as the owner, you'll be like, I'm not going to do that checklist myself. And
yeah.
you have to be the example, because if you only do it 70% of what you want your guys to do, they're only going to do 50% of what you're doing. So now we're at 50% versus being at 100% of what you're doing, and they're going to be at 80%. Because, that's one thing as we hire people, I see a lot of people be like, well, they can never be as good as I am. And you're right, they're probably not going to be as good as you are. But as long as they're 80% as good as you are, that means you're going to hit 80% of the customers, and 80% are going to be happy. And if we can make 80% of our customers happy, we're in a good, happy place. There's always going to be that 5 or 10% that we're never going to make them happy. It don't matter if you're on the job or who's on the job. You're never going to make that 100% happy for that person. But if we can make 80% of the happy, then we will be good at have a good, successful business.
I agree. And I think too, also kind of along those lines is have the mindset of always looking at like, what can I do better? How can I make things better? How can I make it easier for my team or whatever it is? Have that mindset of not, oh, they screwed up. Okay, what could I have done better to make it easier for them or better for them? Always have that mindset.
And allow them to give input, right? Allow them to
Yep.
give input of what could be better. Allow them to have a brain and think about it. Because in the end, if we allow them to do what they do really well at, and they're really good as a technician, then guess what? Let them be a 100% technician and let them do their job, and let them put input into what could make it better, right? Because as whether we're doing Christmas lights or whatever, we're all about efficiency. How can we get faster? What if we took the ladder off this way versus coming off the back? This is 10 seconds longer. Well, it's only 10 seconds, but that 10 seconds adds up over time. And 10 seconds here, a minute there, 2 minutes here. The next thing we know, we're on a job for 3 hours when we really should only be on the job for 2 hours or
Mhm.
an hour. Most Christmas light installers, once we get the systems in place, they're in and out on these $2,000 jobs within an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on some of the higher end ones. But it's in and out and we're done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. I We used to have what we call what's dumb around here meetings, and we'd invite everybody in, ask them what's dumb around here. What don't you like? But if you come with something, you have to kind of give a solution. You know, maybe not do with that solution, but you have to at least come with some solution or some idea that we can do to fix it. And that was awesome to hear their input. Some of the things just like, holy cow, I never thought that, or I didn't know that was wrong out here. Let's work on that. And it's a good thing to do. And people like you said, like the input to help out the business. So
Yeah, Lee Baker is he does concrete flooring, and he always does the day before they put up each other's jobs and allows each other critique that job. So it's not me saying, "Hey, this sucks." It's this crew saying, "Hey, you messed up right here. You should have did this, this, and this." And it's been very well for them, and they learn very well because they're critiquing each other. Right? It's just not, "Hey, this is my job. I'm excited about it. Now I get knocked down because you found 4 flaws, but I can also show the flaws on yours." And at this point, everybody's learning. And as the owner, I'm not sitting there saying, "Hey, you guys suck because you didn't do this, this, and this." And it's everybody else telling them that you suck, that where you can do better. And it's actually elevated everybody because now we don't want our picture getting critiqued badly.
mhm. I love that idea. I have to suggest that to some landscapers. That's awesome. Well, we got off a little bit off tangent there, but so we talked about some of the equipment. We talked about insurance. We talked about how to kind of get started. Is there any tips you can share about marketing?
Yes, be consistent, relentless, and prolific. We got to be consistent in our marketing. So, whether we are doing yard signs work pretty well for Christmas lights. Facebook ads work pretty well for Christmas lights, and Google ads. Those have been the three. And then obviously our Google My Business. Our Google My Business is our Google business profile now, is definitely things to get leads. It is all about getting leads. So, if you're going to do a Google My Business or a Google business profile, I would recommend doing its own separate than having it with your landscape business. It will do better by itself than trying to do that. And then we're being consistent with it, right? We're posting on there once to or two, 3 times a week. We're adding pictures. We're making sure that we're hitting the areas that we know we want to hit at, right? Obviously, for Cincinnati, we're not hitting all of Cincinnati, focusing on that. We're going to focus on some of the areas that we know. And so we can, around here, we know that up in the Northeast is where our money was. We're not going to hit downtown. We're not going to hit, Covington there, but Fort Thomas, there's certain areas in here that we're going to really focus and target on. Obviously, this is not a service that we're targeting the lower end class. We're targeting the higher end people. So those are definitely things that we're looking for. Facebook, I never had luck with Facebook, but I know probably 5 or 10 people that have had really good luck with Facebook that has grown to $500,000. Like I said, Jason Murphy out of Louisville, he did Facebook. He did do a little bit of Google ads, but he got most of his leads through Facebook. And then I got a guy out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. He did $250,000 second year, and he got them all through Facebook. So Facebook is definitely, you're going to get a lot of leads that your close rate's probably not going to be as good as Google because people at Google are at least looking for it, where Facebook, it's more of the passerby. You can do EDDM. You're going to send out, obviously, we're looking for those higher end clients. So we're going to hit that. But again, we're not going to just send out one mailer and say, well, mailers didn't work. No, we're got to send them out 3 or 4 times. That's how we're going to get our ROI on those mailers. I got some guys in New York that he bought a list of all the houses over $750,000, and he sends a mailer to all of those 3 or 4 times, right? And so that's how he has grown his Christmas light business, for that. But the biggest thing is being consistent. We got to be consistent, prolific, and relentless, right? We're going to keep posting. We're going to post on Facebook. We're going to post on, the other thing is too, it's not as much, but you can get business even on LinkedIn, right? We can get a lot of our HOAs and property managers, and we can find them on LinkedIn, and we can post there, and we can start showing them that way. And then obviously, video. I love, everybody loves video. And you might say, well, what about you ain't going to get no business on TikTok? Well, guess what? When you search for Christmas lights or you search for pressure washing, guess what comes up now? Two TikTok videos. So if it is something that is new, and it is something that is the younger generation obviously uses a lot more, not so much the older generation, but you know what? Back in the day, the younger generation were the only ones that use Facebook. And guess what? Now everybody, all the old people use Facebook, and now they all went to TikTok, the younger generation, right? So make sure that we are being consistent, prolific, and relentless when we're talking about whether it's whatever we're going to do. But what I would highly suggest is pick one or two and learn about it and do that like 100%. Don't try to do all these things that I've just said, because then you'll do none of them well. But find one or two that we can do really well, and then we can start expanding from there to get our there. The people that I know that have been successful, I always say if you come into my training, you can at least do your first year, you'll do $30,000 to $50,000 if you take action. And I've had guys do $100,000, $150,000 their very first year doing Christmas lights install. The beautiful thing of it is it's very profitable. At the end of it, you're looking at usually a third for cost. That's usually a third, the lights and your marketing and stuff. You're looking at a third for labor and a third for profit. So it's pretty stupid profitable when what we're talking about here.
Well, the nice thing too is for landscapers, a lot of times they're looking for ways to keep their employees, over the winter time. This is a great way to do that. You get them to put the lights up, take them down. That's another way to keep them busy and keep them in your business rather than going to somebody else.
Yeah, you can definitely keep them, because the way it goes is usually your first year, usually you're putting up lights in November and a little bit in December. Everybody usually shuts down about December 10th to 15th. So that's your first year. Your second year, you'll actually start usually putting up lights in October, and then you'll install all of October, November, and then, like I said, about the December 15th, usually it stops. And then in January, depending on how many lights you have up, you'll take, in your beginning, you can probably get them all down in about a week or two. But like for our 500,000, it was almost the whole month of January of takedown. So by that time, you're right into February. And then it's just a matter of getting us up and running for March for the landscape side of things.
Alrighty, guys. So I encourage you to go check out Jason's program and really look at adding another service like landscaping, like Christmas lights to your business. It's something that's add another profitable revenue source to your business, but also a great way to keep your employees. Jason, you mind sharing a little bit more about your program, what's in there and what's involved?
Yeah, so on my online program, I have everything to grow and start and grow a Christmas light business. I go over all the stuff for how to do the installs, how to do trees, how to do bushes, how to do roof lines, how to custom make our own extension cords, how to do all of that stuff. And not only that, I go into marketing a whole bunch. I have a whole section just on marketing our business. And I do a Zoom call every Monday night to learn how to do marketing for Christmas light business. And then if you would like to do the in-person training, I have an in-person training. I have two coming up, one in October, one in September in Raleigh, North Carolina. On these, it's a 2-day course. One day is all hands on, and then everything is in a warehouse that is a whole house built inside of a warehouse that everything is reachable from the ground. And then we have a couple roof props so you can try out all the different tools, the pit chopper, the goat, anything along those lines of for how to start and grow a Christmas light business.
That sounds awesome. Guys, I encourage you to go check out his program, get in his live classes. You're going to learn so much. I've seen some of the videos and clips of what he does there. It's amazing stuff. So guys, go check that out. Jason, got a few minutes for some fun questions?
Sure do.
All right. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement. I would say probably raising two beautiful, amazing daughters. I've grown businesses to a million. I've done $1 million businesses, and one thing that I love doing is helping people start and grow businesses. But at the end of the day, I do it for my family. Right, that's the whole important part. And so having two beautiful daughters that are growing up and being awesome at what they do is what I would consider my most best achievement.
Awesome. This one kind of goes along with the lights. Have you ever been electrocuted?
Yeah. So we always talk about in the Christmas light world about not putting two males on one line, double males. And yes, I have put double males on a line, and yes, it will light you up pretty good.
There you go. All right, last one. Would you rather have deep dish or thin crust pizza?
Deep dish. Thin
Yes.
crust is not very good. In fact, I'm a little weird about this. I usually scrape off all my toppings and just eat the bread anyway. So, it is what it is. So,
There you go. Got to have a good Chicago style pizza, in my opinion.
yes, you got to have thick. I mean, it's all about the bread. Come on now.
Yeah, yep. All right, Jason. Well, it's been great to have you on. Guys, he unloaded so much great information here, so many tips on sales and marketing. I encourage you, go check out his program, like I said, and look at adding Christmas lights to your business. Any last final words, Jason?
Take action. You're not going to do anything if you don't take action. I know sometimes it can be hard, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but just take action and keep putting one foot in front of the other. And when you do, the momentum will keep you going and you can do amazing things.
Well said. Well said. Well, thanks, Jason. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. Look forward to having you on again.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott.
Have a good one.